is Max, and I'm one half of the Two Ton Nerds. And this is the first day of the Two Ton Nerds Presents the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project. And first up is Cabin Fever, and the theme of this week will be Cabin in the Woods. So there's a few things I want to say before I watch the movie. Is that I do prefer Cabin in the Woods over the Hostel movies. The Hostel movies they're good, but they're not great. They're categorized as torture porn, which I'm not into those kind of movies. So that's why I chose Cabin Fever over the other Hostel Part 1 and 2. So I'm about to watch the movie and take some notes. So just forgive me if in a little bit if I'm looking off screen, looking at my notes. Please enjoy. I'm going to enjoy this movie because I got my pizza and my bottle of water. So I'll see you in a few seconds. So I just got done watching my first inaugural movie of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, Cabin Fever. Let's just get right into the review. Within the first 20 minutes, the 20 to 25 minutes of the movie is that they break all the horror movie rules just very, very quickly and in succession. Like a couple of them have sex. They end up drinking and partying very hard. You know, even like a random camper brings weed into the group, which is like they're already all dead, and just kind of like it's very, very revealing if you know what your horror movie rules are. So the movie kind of progresses very quickly. I do believe the pacing is not very slow. The events kind of start leading up to the infection. Like when they first got into the convenience store, the little boy who sits outside ends up biting Ryder Strong's character, which is kind of like, all right, there's strike one. They move up to the cabin in the woods kind of thing, and one of them, the couple of the group, they immediately having sex. A random dude out in the middle of the woods ends up bringing weed into the group. But while they were all settling in, and Bert, the dude who plays Trip in Detroit Rock City, he's out in the middle of the woods shooting squirrels, and he accidentally shoots this dude who's a hermit who lives out in the woods, and he's very, very infected. You can tell by the looks on his face. There's blisters and pus kind of all over his face. And he just looks pale, and you can tell he's sick right off the bat. And he accidentally shoots him, and he's like, all right, just stay here, and he'll go get help. And he goes and he just runs away and doesn't get help at all. So they're all inside having a good time when there's a knock at the door, which is the hermit. And then Trip's character, or the Bert, that's his name, sorry, he ends up just freaking out and don't let him in because he already knows he's infected. I think he's the most cautious person in the movie, next to one of the others, which is also another complaint. They're very, very touchy-feely with the people who are infected. And there's a lot of references to older horror movies. Like my favorite one in the whole movie is when Ryder Strong kills one of the convenience stores boys, or I think that's or a friend. He puts a screwdriver into his ear, which resembles a scene from Dawn of the Dead. And the cabin itself looks like the cabin from the Evil Dead movie, which is also we'll be watching sometime this week. There's a few scenes in the movie that I wish it wouldn't was out. I like to edit movies and make movies, so I kind of sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I'm kind of re-editing the movie in my head and to make it a little bit better, tighter. It just kind of flow different. And there's this one particular scene that I wish was taken out. When the hermit is like trashing their vehicle with blood, splitting up blood and all that good stuff, he kind of gets set on fire and he just kind of runs into the woods screaming, and that's where I wish they would leave the last you would see of him. Well, about 10 minutes later you see him again, but he's already he's kind of like he's floating in water, and it kind of reveals that he's floating in the town reservoir, which is where the town gets its water, which I wish they would have left that scene out, just because it kind of already reveals how they are going to get infected, and I wish they didn't reveal that. I just wish they would have waited until later in the movie, which they did, until that's when the character finds out. That's what they should have done, is wait when the character finds out is when we should have found out, is that the how the water is infected, and whoever comes in contact with the water becomes infected with the flesh-eating virus, which also leads to me learning something very new about this movie, is that I've never figured out how one of the women gets infected. I can't. Her name's Karen in the movie. She's one of the person who has sex in the movie, which is a big no-no. Once again, but she was explaining that she cooked supper for everybody, and one of the guys on the chair, he's like, I'm eating it after you. It's like, I even washed the dishes, which I'm like, oh, that's how she becomes infected. Is that she comes in contact with the water while washing the dishes. Special effects in this movie were great. The makeup effects of the flesh-eating virus was really good, especially on Jordan Ladd when they reveal that her face is completely, almost have fallen off her face, and it just reveals like the when you see like a skeleton skull where she has no lips and it's just teeth, and it's just very like she's dying, plain and simple, very slowly and painful. Overall, I don't have a grading scale for these movies. I just kind of will say, like, I recommend this movie to anyone. It's just a good movie to watch with a group. Like I said earlier, I do believe this is Eli Roth's better movie compared to the Hostel ones. That's all I'm going to say about this movie, is that it's just, please go watch it, and at least watch it with a big group, so maybe you'll get some laughs out of it, tear it apart around, which I've done on several occasions, is just sit around tearing movies apart with friends. But this movie is very good just to sit around and watch, even if you just put it on for noise, because you explains pretty well in the movie without having to watch it. So I am Max James. I am one half of the 2 Ton Nerds, and this is day 1 of the 31 Days of Fright Horror Movie Project, and I am going to go geek out.